I've been running to keep fit for a couple of years now, and I honestly can't recommend it enough, but seeing this kind of reminded me of something I feel that I need to share. I got into running during the summer of 2019, and over the next 6 months or so, I made steady progress with my fitness. But the winter hit hard, and it sapped my motivation to run, especially around Christmas when good food and strong drink were plentiful. But then come New Year's Day, I was back out in the park, running my usual laps, determined not to lose any of the progress that I'd made. But as it turned out, so was everyone else. The park was way busier than usual, and I swear that at least half the people there were jogging. But one of the things that really stood out to me was just how gassed people look. A lot of them were obviously brand new runners and were getting back into it after a period of time off because there was a lot of coughing, spluttering, and leaning up against trees and all that kind of stuff. I've got a bit of a weird habit of cheering people on when I see them like that. It happened to me when I first started, just some random old men on a walk through the park who told me, "Don't give up, son." And it gave me this massive boost, and I know some people find it a bit irritating, but I think it's a net positive. Anyway, I'm basically having the time of my life, cheering people on, generally getting inspired by all the people trying to make a change and better themselves, and it was just great vibes. Then the next thing I know, I'm rounding this blind bend, covered up by this big evergreen bush of some kind, and I see someone just lying on the pavement in front of me, eyes closed and just completely still. I stopped dead in my tracks, literally stunned by what I was looking at. There was a second where I thought the guy was just talking the mickey, as they say, and that my call of "Are you alright, mate?" would be met with some bantering reply or something. But there was nothing. The guy stayed completely still, eyes closed, totally unresponsive. I went into full-on panic mode, forgot every bit of CPR training I'd ever been taught, and instead just stood over the guy shouting, "Hello, can you hear me? Open your eyes." When he didn't respond, I called 999, and as I was giving the operator all the details, a few more people came around the bend and started helping out. It was a big relief to have the other people on the scene, but it definitely got a bit chaotic too. Some were suggesting that they put the guy into the recovery position, while others were rightfully stopping that and saying not to move him because his airway seemed clear. I kept passing information back and forth between the operator and the other people tending to the unconscious man, so, like I said, it was all very chaotic and stressful, with lots of people trying to talk over each other all at once. And even through the din, I heard it when some panicked woman's voice called out, "I can't feel his pulse. I don't think he's got a pulse." Luckily, someone had showed up who actually knew CPR and started working on the bloke after clearing some room. Seeing the CPR man actually do chest compressions sent people over the edge. It's been mad up until that point as it was, but I don't think people realized just how serious the situation was until the chest compression started. People started walking away, covering their eyes. The woman, who'd noticed the lack of pulse, burst into tears. It was extremely difficult to watch, and I found myself having to turn away in order to keep a steady thought in my head, because I was still on the phone with the operator at that point. Moments later, I heard the ambulance sirens, so I hung up the call to help guide them in. After that, there was nothing that we could do but watch, and the absolute last thing I wanted to do was to help turn some guy's final moments into a freaking spectacle. The last thing I saw were the paramedics loading the guy onto a stretcher and into the back of the ambulance. I have no idea what happened to him after that. In the days after, I kept checking Google and local news websites for any sign of the collapsed runner, but I didn't see anything. This happened in Sefton Park in Liverpool, by the way, on New Year's Day of 2020, so if anyone happens to be able to dig up the story, I'd be really appreciative if you could leave a link in the comments or something. The guy has a shaven head, but then a bit of a ginger beard, and I think he was in his early to mid-20s. I'll have to look myself after I send this, and I know some of you are probably thinking, why didn't you check before you even started this? Well, the thing is, I haven't been able to bring myself to. I've thought about that little incident many times over the years, and I've run past the same spot countless times since, but I've never been able to bring myself to sit down and just Google it again. I know why that is, too. I'm not going to pretend my own mind is a mystery to me in some hacky attempt at dramatic ambiguity. I haven't Googled it because if the guy died, I know it'll horribly upset me, and this selfish sense of self-preservation just keeps me from doing it. That runner probably left his house or flat that day, wanting to make a change for the better. 2020 could have been his year, but instead, he might not have survived the first day of it. The fact that was his reality, even if he did survive, it just makes you realize how lucky the rest of us are, who make it through our daily lives without some unforeseen medical disaster occurring. Anyways, I've rambled long enough, I think, so let me get to the point. If you're thinking about beginning a fitness routine this year, please, there's no shame in taking things nice and slow to start with. Wrap up warm, take a water bottle with you, and go at your own speed, no one else's. Running buddies are a great idea, and if you can find one your level, even better. But lots of experienced runners won't mind slowing down a bit just for the sake of helping you level up and learn a thing or two. And trust me, some of us would welcome the break. Just don't be that bloke that I found that morning, lying cold and alone with no one to help him at first but some gobsmacked runner who barely had a clue what to do. If you enjoyed this scary story, listen to thousands more, either over on the Let's Read YouTube channel or podcast.